Marcus Green hadn't slept properly in 3 weeks. Since the divorce papers were finalized, his entire world had restructured itself around one single priority, as making sure his 8-year-old daughter, Lily, didn't feel the weight of everything that had fallen apart. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of small moments to change lives, please stay with us and watch this story till the end. If there is any mistake or shortcoming in our story, please kindly forgive us and support us with your love, patience and encouragement. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness True Stories. And tell us in the comments where in the world you're watching from. Your support means everything to us. She was a quiet child by nature, but lately she had become even more withdrawn, spending her evenings staring out the window, instead of drawing the colorful pictures she once plastered all over the refrigerator. That Tuesday morning, when Lily pushed her cereal around the bowl without eating a single bite, Marcus made a decision. He turned off the stove, grabbed her little jacket from the hook by the door, and said, "Come on, Bug, we're going out." Lily looked up with those big, brown eyes, her mother's eyes, and for the first time in days, she didn't argue. The cafe on Elmwood Street was called the Yellow Cup, and Marcus had passed it 100 times without ever going inside. Something about it felt right that morning, the warm glow of its windows, the smell of cinnamon drifting out onto the sidewalk, the hand-painted sign that read, "Everyone is welcome here." He pushed open the door and guided Lily inside. And that's when he noticed her, a woman sitting alone at the corner table, silver-haired and elegant, with a cup of tea in her hands and an open notebook in front of her. Her name, as Marcus would later learn, was Eleanor Voss, and she was 71 years old. She had been coming to the Yellow Cup every Tuesday for 6 years, ever since her husband passed away, and the silence of her house became too loud to bear. She always sat at the same table, always ordered chamomile tea, and always brought her notebook, though most days she wrote nothing in it, just sat with it open, as if waiting for the right words to find her. Marcus chose a table nearby, and while he studied the menu, Lily slid off her chair and wandered toward the window, where a fat orange cat was curled up on the sill. Eleanor watched the little girl with gentle eyes. Lily reached out one finger and touched the cat's ear, and the cat stirred and blinked, and then, for the first time in 3 weeks, Lily smiled. It was small and fleeting, but Marcus caught it from across the room and had to look down at his menu to keep himself together. Eleanor leaned slightly toward the little girl and said softly, "His name is Marmalade. He thinks he owns this place." Lily turned and looked at her with cautious eyes. "Does he bite?" she asked. Eleanor shook her head seriously. "He only bites rude people, and you don't seem rude to me at all." Lily considered this with the grave thoughtfulness that only children possess, then climbed up onto the chair nearest Eleanor without being invited. Marcus started to apologize, but Eleanor waved her hand gently and smiled at him, a smile so warm and unhurried that something in his chest loosened. Over the next hour, something extraordinary happened in the most ordinary way possible. Eleanor told Lily stories about Marmalade, about the cafe owner who had rescued him from a rainstorm, about the town and its history and the little mysteries she had collected in her notebook over the years. Lily, who had barely spoken in weeks, began asking questions. One question became 2, became 10. She actually laughed, when Eleanor described the time. Marmalade knocked an entire tray of muffins onto a businessman's laptop. Marcus sat nearby, sipping his coffee, watching his daughter come back to herself one small moment at a time. And he felt something he hadn't felt in months, hope. When it was time to leave, Lily hugged Eleanor around the waist without warning. The way children do when they decide they love someone, completely and without explanation. Eleanor held her carefully, the way people do when they understand how precious something is. She looked up at Marcus over Lily's head, and he mouthed the words, "Thank you." Eleanor shook her head gently, her eyes bright. "She gave me more than I gave her," she said quietly. They came back the following Tuesday, and the one after that. Eleanor began writing in her notebook again, little stories. she told Marcus, about a girl and a cat in the cafe on Elmwood Street. Lily started drawing again, and one afternoon she brought Eleanor a picture. A woman with silver hair sitting at a corner table, sunshine coming through the window, and a big orange cat in her lap. Eleanor framed it and hung it on her wall, right next to a photograph of her late husband. Sometimes the people who change our lives aren't the ones we go looking for. Sometimes they're just already sitting there, in a warm corner of the world, waiting without knowing they're waiting. And all it takes is one small, brave decision to walk through the right door. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel, Kindness True Stories, where we bring you real moments of human connection that remind us all why kindness is never wasted.